The first time I realized that the thing in my brain that's comparing myself to other people could actually come in handy came during a time I almost died, low-key. It was back in college, and we had this pond near my house. It was called Puffer's Pond, and it was really, really cold. I live in Massachusetts in the northeast of America, and it was the middle of winter. I just came back for my second semester of college, my senior year. I found that there was this club at school called the Outing Club, and this group of people would actually go on hikes, they would go and do kayaking, they would do random things outside, and I saw on their list of activities that they had a cold plunge at 6 a.m. every single Friday. And so I was thinking to myself, like I'm in self-improvement, I've always wanted to cold plunge, I see these people, Goggins, Joe Rogan, all these people online doing it, let me give it a try. And so I go online, I sign up for the activity, and that morning I wake up at like 5:30 a.m. and I drive over to the Outing Club to where everyone meets up. I go to this group of people, I'm pretty sleep deprived, I'm not gonna lie, and so there were a ton of new people, but I could not be bothered to talk to any of them. Eventually we get together in a circle, we introduce ourselves, and then we all drive to the pond. It's kind of like a parking lot and like a bridge that goes into a beach, and then you can walk along this beach into the water. So everyone goes to the beach, everyone takes off their shoes, they take off their clothing, so they just have swimsuits under, and I'm in a group of 30 people on this beach at 6 a.m. It is freezing outside. This is a place that snows. I'm looking outside right now and there's snow on my lawn. This is a place that gets that cold. And so you can imagine that this pond, because it's like it's a larger body of water, right? Like if you just had a tub full of water, it would freeze eventually because it's like a small amount of water, right? But if you have a pond, if you have a ton of water, it's not going to freeze, like maybe if it's really, really cold, the top will freeze over, but this is ice cold water, colder than any cold plunge you see these guys do online. And all 30 of us rush into the water. We rush into the water, and within 5-10 seconds, 27 people run out of the water back to the beach, back to where it's warm. And so now it's just me and 2 other guys, and I start talking to some of them. I find out that one of them is actually the president of this club, and the other one is some European dude. Now we just stay in this water, and it was cold. It was extremely, extremely cold, but that's why I went there. That's the reason I went to this pond. And so I stayed in. And the other 2 were like, yeah, we're staying in too. After about 3-4 minutes, the president, he's like, all right, guys, I'm out. And he swims away. He goes back to shore. All 28 people are just looking at us. They're talking to each other, of course, but they're just staring at us, waiting for what we're going to do. They all just left in 10 seconds. They know how cold it is. And so me and this guy are just staying in this water. I find out later that this dude every single time they went on Fridays, he would stay in the longest. He would push himself. And so I, for some reason in that moment, was just like, I'm going to leave after this guy. I don't give a fuck. And I pushed it. And we stayed in that water for 10 minutes. And everyone was just like, guys, like, how's it going? What are you doing? And at one point, the president was like, guys, you should probably get out of the water. They started to get concerned. And I was just at that point. I was at this moment where it didn't matter what type of pain I was feeling. It didn't matter what was happening to me. I was going to beat this guy in the water. I was going to stay in longer, no matter how cold it was. And after another minute or maybe 2 minutes, at the 12-minute mark, he gets out of the water. He's like, all right, I'm good. And then I follow him right behind. And all these guys are just like, yo, like, who is this guy? Like, what did you do? Like, have you done this before? And I was like, no, I haven't. And they were just so surprised with me. But the difference is that I needed to win. I made that decision that I was going to win. What happened after this, though, it was one of the scariest things in my life. So everyone leaves. Everyone just goes to their cars. They're just trying to get home, get to a blanket. And like, I managed to put on my clothes. I'm like shaking. At this moment, I'm feeling kind of good. I actually don't feel cold. I think this was a rush of adrenaline, a rush of endorphins. And once you do something that hard, right after it, you just feel amazing. You feel a sense of high after doing that, especially since I won. I get to my car after managing to put on some of my clothes, and I don't think I even put on my shoes. I couldn't put on my sock. I couldn't manage that. I get to my car, I put my stuff inside, I sit down and I turn on the car engine and I just blast the heat. And at this moment, I start to shiver. I start to shiver really, really bad. Like my teeth are chattering, my entire body is shaking. And I'm shaking so bad, I blast the heat, I blast my seat heater, I max out everything, and I'm still not feeling warm. I was actually kind of concerned. It's 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. at this point. No one's around, no one's awake. I'm just here and I'm shaking. And it doesn't go away. I wait there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, blasting the heat, trying to just get as warm as possible. I managed to take off my wet underwear so I have nothing wet on me. I'm just shaking there still and it won't stop. This has never happened to me before. And then finally, the shaking doesn't stop, but I just make this decision. I'm like, I need a hot shower. I need a blanket. And so don't tell this to anyone else, but I actually drive home from there. I wasn't too far. It was like a 5-7 minute drive, but I was low-key shaking as I was driving. It was a little bit sus. It wasn't that bad, but it was just extremely uncomfortable. I get to my house. I just remember closing my door, running across my lawn. I'm in shorts and nothing else. I'm just running across my lawn. I get into the shower. I turn it up to be pretty hot. And I'm sitting there in the shower, and that moment of hot water hitting me was ecstasy. It was one of the best feelings I've ever experienced in my life. It was truly, truly amazing. The hot water's hitting me. I feel fine. I feel okay. I turn it off after I run out of hot water because my house only had a limited amount. Trust me, I would have stayed in there for an hour if I could, but the hot water runs out. I get out of the shower. I'm still shivering and my teeth are still chattering. And so I go upstairs to my bedroom and I remember taking a video back then just being wow, that was crazy. How are my teeth still chattering? It's been an hour since I've been in the water, or maybe 40 minutes. And I just get into bed, I cover myself with 3 blankets and I just curl up in a ball and I max out my heater in my room. And after 40 more minutes, I finally stop shivering. But for the rest of the day, I felt a level of discomfort. The point of this story is that I found a way to stay in there no matter what pain I face, stay in that water because I was competing with someone. And so if we can bring this level of competition into the rest of our life, it's easy to feel disciplined. Another example that I've applied this to is fasting. Right now it's 4:07 p.m. I haven't eaten a meal today. I usually push my fast every day till 4 to 6 p.m. Around this time I'll eat. And I've been around people who are eating lunch all the time. My team for the AI company, they mostly eat lunch at 12 p.m., 1 p.m. We usually order delivery food and I'll watch them eat the food. And most people, when they see that, they'll feel hungry. They'll feel cravings. But when I see them eat that food, there's actually something in me that just makes me want to work harder. That makes me want to just go and focus and push my fast. I'll actually, in those moments, deliver my food for 5 p.m. so I don't have even the choice of getting food at that point. And I just push myself to go work, to delay the gratification, to push myself to eat later, to keep fasting. This can also apply to other habits you have. For example, I meditate every day for 20 minutes to 45 minutes. I do at least the 20 minutes. And I find that there's something in me that when I miss the meditation, when I didn't do it yet in the day, and I go see other people in my life, I go see my family members, and I see them just get so affected by some text conversation they're having, by some menial thing that doesn't really matter, but I see them get so emotional about it. I just think to myself, yeah, I meditate. And so I feel a lot more independent from my emotions. I'm a lot more still and peaceful throughout the day. And that makes me want to just go and meditate even more. I hear someone be like, yeah, I did my 5-10 minutes of meditation. I'm so happy. I'm like, damn, I just did my 40 minutes of meditation. I didn't even think about it. And I know this sounds very condescending. It sounds bad It sounds bad to compare yourself. Like, why is he saying that? Like, he should be happy for them. He should be pushing them on. And yes, I do that. I literally have a whole academy where I teach people how to meditate, how to lose weight, all this stuff. But I think it's not spoken about enough how potent the sort of dark side we have is. How potent this feeling of, you're not going to do that. No one's going to do this. And that's why I show up and I do the hard work. That's why I meditate every day. That's why I go to the gym. That's why I fast. That's why I fast and I feel hungry sometimes, but I still stay independent from that. I still just let it go and keep going because I know 99% of people won't do this, but I will. And so that has its own level of motivation that I think most people need to tap into more. And it makes all of these things, getting on these positive habits, not looking at social media, not doing drugs, alcohol, watching porn, all of this stuff becomes a lot easier when you realize that as someone who does that, you are almost above most people. And it feels really, really good to be at that place. Now, I know most people won't apply this advice because it sounds so bad, but I'm hoping for the people that do. I'm hoping that you hear this and you start to just have a different filter towards all of these habits. Use this dark side of yourself.